Thank you for pulling up, man. We got a little production up in here, man, so.
That's what's up.
You know, tired, huh?
Tired as
Give a fuck, y'all can never do a thing. Put the funk on blast, you might have heard about me. Flipping anything fast, you might have heard about me. Getting only in cash.
All right, y'all, we're back, man. MadStrange podcast. We got L in the building today. We got Bishop Snow. Man, pleasure, bro. Thank you for joining us today, man. Very thankful to have you.
Thanks for having me, man. This is exciting. I've been wanting to do this for a while.
So I first met L, like, we probably linked up, maybe a year ago?
Yeah, I would say, yeah.
So his nephew linked us up together, right? And he was like, yeah, man, I want you to meet my uncle, because he had done a little promo video for, like, their soccer league. They had, like, a soccer team, right?
Yeah, the beach soccer team.
Right,
yeah.
and he did, like, a promo video for them, and I remember I saw it, and I was like, bro, this video is dope. Like, this is really well done. He's like, yeah, my uncle did it. He said, man, I want to connect y'all. So me and him went up to Terry's right here off El Camino Real. And this dude started telling me his story.
Yeah.
And I was just like, bro, like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Like, and so, yeah, man, I definitely just want to get straight into it, bro. Like, you're a photographer.
Yeah.
Grew up in Oceanside, grew up in the Valley.
Yeah.
What got you to pick up a camera, bro?
Actually, I mean, as like cliche as it sounds, like my photography found me in a sense. Just because like right after high school, I went to Palomar College, and a friend of mine was like, hey, do you want to take a video editing class with me? So I was like, cool, fuck it. And I took a class with him, and I became pretty good at it, like just editing videos, or, you know, he was like a snowboarder, so we would cut like snowboarding videos, and I skated at the time. So I knew how to like make things look cool in a sense because of skate videos. But from there, my teacher at the time was like, yo, like you should take my advanced class. And I was like, yeah, I'm down. And I was like, dude, I'm going to be a video editor. This is what I want to do. Yeah. And then he was like, but you have to take a photo 100 class as a prerequisite. And I was like, dude, I don't even own a camera. You know what I mean? And he was like, you have to do it. And I just hit up one of my homies. I was like, dude, can I just borrow your camera, like, you know, just to get through the semester? And then I went into photography, and just like once I hit the lab and the dark room, I just fell in love with it, dude.
When was this though? Like, what year was this?
Now you're gonna make me sound hella old and shit. I want to say, so I graduated high school '97. It had to be, I want to say like 99.
Okay. So there was still a toll bridge in the Valley.
Yeah. Well,
Or no,
I mean, I know the toll bridge.
Yeah.
Like, we used to throw pennies in that thing. Like, you would throw like, what was it, like 50 cents
it
at
was
the
50
time?
cents, yeah.
Yeah, so you would throw like 5 pennies in there, and then like it would kind of rig the toll, or like warn them, and then the guy would like stick his head out, and then we'd be like, yo, and then he'd be like, and just wave us through, because we didn't even have 50 cents to throw
Every
in just to
time,
go
yeah.
across the bridge. But yeah, there was like little tricks like that. I remember that. But yeah, that was.
So you grew up in the Deep Valley.
Yeah.
What area? Like, what street?
So I'm Charles. So I'm Charles Drive. Like, so it goes Arthur, which is like the street, and then I'm the one next.
Yeah.
The one over. I actually went to Oceanside High for 3 years, and then my parents got they got a divorce during my, I want to say like end of my sophomore year. So we moved to the Valley, and then when we moved to the Valley, I was taking the city bus trying to finish my year out at Oceanside. And then at the time, like, I remember there was a thing going around Oceanside saying that, like, oh, next year, like, they're not going to let anybody wear hats. And I'm like a hat dude. Yeah. And
that was when they input the zero tolerance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were trying to put uniforms at the schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And one of my homies, like, went to El Camino, and he was like, yo, we're wearing hats. They didn't tell us nothing. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go to EC then. And then I graduated at EC.
What year was this?
That I 97.
This is 90s. Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Were you born here?
Yeah, I was 2.
You said I was
I was 2 years old. Yeah.
I said toll at the valley. He was
Yeah.
like, what? There was a bro. You said to pay to get in the hood.
No,
That was crazy,
the
you know
funny
what I mean?
thing about the valley, like, so at the time, like, it was hot.
Yeah.
Like during the like mid 90s, like the valley was super hot. Like cops were getting shot.
Yeah.
Like Bloods and Crips were shooting each other. Then the Crips got like shut out. And then I remember like it was a little while after, but like Rusty had gotten shot like out there. But what was I getting at? Oh, so I didn't know what the valley, what the Deep Valley was.
Even though you lived in it.
When I was moving over there at the
okay.
time. So I had some friends that like from Oceanside that was like helping us move, like me and my mom's, right? Yeah. And we moved, and I did this stupid thing. I was like, yo, let's go check out the neighborhood, right? Like, so we fucking walked around like the neighborhood. And dude, it was like the craziest thing. Like there was like these 2 Crips, like one was like riding a bike, and then there was another one on the handlebars, right? Going down the street, and then there was like, we were like 5 deep, you know what I mean? But like, we didn't look like hood or anything, you know what I mean? Like we were just regular kids like walking down the street. And they like rode up next to us, and then they were like, what's up, homie? And we're like, yo, what's going on? And they're like, what are you doing? And we're like, we're just checking out the neighborhood, you know? And then he was like showing off his little like gun, like that was like tucked in his thing. And he was like, yeah, you new here? And I was like, yeah, I just moved in like down the street. He's like, all right, just want to make sure. I'm like, all right, what the fuck was that about? But and then I kind of found my way, because I did, I was like a break dancer, like hip hop dancer. So I had some friends that lived on Arthur. And we but we would always be hanging out on Arthur Street, like at the dead end, like by that little like tuck-in alley. Yeah. So we used to hang out there, and I don't know if you remember Mossy, Lil Mossy. So Lil Mossy used to live like right across the street from my friends that we used to like practice at, and then we would just go over like to each other's houses and just hang out, and then we kind of just got like affiliated with like that whole like, and plus like I'm Filipino, so they just assume I'm Samoan, like a part of that crew. So it was like, you know, people just thought like I was just down with like the Deep Valley Bloods at the time, or like whatever it was. But I mean, it was like the only friends I knew, you know what I mean, in that area. Otherwise I would have had to take the city bus to somebody else's house, and then but
it's hard to avoid when you live, you know, on the 5 or the 6, you know. I grew up at a different time in the valley, so I was a child when, you know, when the whole Rusty thing happened. Rest in peace to Rusty, and you know, Pearl. So like, rest in peace to Pearl too. So I lived in Valley View Apartments as a kid. So as much as like, you know, the city as a whole I try and represent, I'm actually a Valley baby. Like the deep is like, but this came after the toll bridge. But
still like living Valley View is like, bro, like you experience everything, because it's like 7-Eleven's right there, the alley, the big lick, like, and then everything is like Valley View is like as close you can be to like everything.
Even just being in the apartment complex, like running in the back of the apartment complex where the wall is to go behind Big Lick and all that, like behind 7-Eleven, that alley was so active back in the day. It was like just seeing so much back there. It was a trip. But, you know, I grew up at a different time in the valley. You know, it wasn't it was still hectic, but it wasn't like mid 90s hectic to where like it was what you saw, you know. So I can't imagine the amount of influence and inspiration that you saw from, you know what I mean, just being in that era of the valley.
Yeah, just, I mean, I definitely believe that, like, you know, one of the reasons why I stood out in, like, my photography class was because of my subjects, right? A lot of the photos, so every Friday in our photo class, they would do, like, this presentation thing. It was kind of like a critique, right? So everybody would, like, put their photos up on the board, and then it's basically, like, all white, you know, photos, and then you see one black one, and that was mine. And the only reason why was because most of the people in that class, you know, they would do like the regular stuff. It was like shooting the pier, shooting the beach, sunsets, Balboa Park. And then when it got to mine, it was like, you know, it was either like a gang member or like somebody shooting up drugs or like smoking weed. And it wasn't me trying to be cool. It was just like, that was just what was around me. And like, I couldn't, like, it would take me forever to get to the beach. So I was like, I'm not going to go. Yeah.
It's from the valley, it's 2 buses,
Yeah.
bro. It's like,
I'm not going to go all the way out there just to take some photos.
Right.
Like, I'm just going to take some in my neighborhood or whatever it was. But yeah, and then that kind of like got me to like stick out to my teacher. My teacher was, his background was photojournalism. So I think he related to like, you know, the subjects I chose to shoot, and then like the story I decided to like try to tell, or like whatever it was, even though at the time I was just like trying to get through the class.
yeah. Also, like, you're a first generation, right? So your mom came from the Philippines?
Yeah.
So you come from like, your parents are not, this is like your first generation, and then you live in the valley and try to navigate all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As like a Filipino kid, like how did that influence your photography, but also like your childhood, and how'd you navigate that?
Honestly, like, dude, my whole story of just like growing up period is like, it's a mix of like, so like I was born in Jersey, like I lived in New York, and then like I moved out here like high school.
Oh shit.
So when I came here, like that, like, you know, it was high school, and then like I was like an East Coast kid, and then I remember like there was a class that I took, and in one of those classes, like this dude was like, he was like, "You're not from here, are you?" And I was like, "Nah." And he was like, "Let me see your arm." And I was like, you know, and I was like a freshman kid, and he was like, it was like a mix of like, I don't know, from like a freshman, you know, sophomore, juniors. He was older, so I was like, all right. And then he took my arm, and on my arm he took a Sharpie and he wrote DVB on it, right? And then I was like, what's that? And he's like, nah, you're just a part of our crew. And I was like, okay. And then like I could hear some of the kids in the class was like, oh, that's fucked up. Like they're just gonna let him walking around like the school like that. Yeah. So me, I'm just like, okay, like I'm gonna go hang out with these dudes or whatever. And then I had it on
like,
my arm.
New York didn't have gang, or the East Coast didn't have gang culture at that time.
No, I mean, it wasn't like a Bloods and Crips kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, like my experience of like Bloods and Crips was like colors, and I was like, fuck, like LA, like I'm never going to LA. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, so you know, when we moved out here, I was like Oceanside, like where's that? And then they're like,
it sounds nice.
Yeah.
Oceanside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we come out, and then I'm like, okay, like we live over there by Captown. That's when I was going to Oceanside High, and then after that we moved to the valley. But yeah, how did it influence me? Sorry,
like having immigrant parents, like
honestly, so outside of like you know, my storytelling and the way that I technically like shoot photos, right? It would be like, if anything, like it would be like my work ethic. That's what I take from like my parents, and then anybody that was like really in and a part of my life. Whether it was like friends and their family like took me in. I mean, there was times where like, you know, both parents were working like, you know, 2-3 jobs, and I was like the latchkey kid, like, you know, wearing a house key around my neck, showing up to an empty house all the time. Had friends was like, yo, just come over. And then even then, like, it was cool because I got to like one of my great friends, like he's Mexican, and then I got to like learn their like culture and like the way they talk. I remember like they were speaking Spanish, and I was like, yo, like y'all ain't Puerto Rican, like, you know, like
because you came from the East Coast.
My thing was like, I was like, what's a Mexican? Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? I don't even know where Mexico is. Or
so being the first time you seen Samoans too, then.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, these are some big ass Filipinos. But yeah, man, like, yeah. Or even the other way around sometimes, like, you know, people would be like, damn, like, that's a small ass Filipino, or that's a small ass Samoan kid. Like, didn't know what was what.
I didn't know you were from the East Coast, but you were like a big, like, hip hop backpack, like Wu-Tang head. You know what I mean? But now that makes sense. I mean, obviously Wu-Tang was like, it's everywhere, right? But that was like, that's what you.
Yeah, the funny thing is, like, so, like, during that time, like, the music, it was like, there was so many people, like, that was, like, you know, rocking, like, the Nautica, the Hilfiger, the Timberlands, Polo, like, all that shit, right? And, like, no one was from the East Coast. But I was the only one that was. And, like, when I came in, it was, like, I think, like, that's how I was dressing. And then I think, like, everyone else was more, like, you know, just, like, the striped shirts, like, whatever you, like, that they had at, like, the indoor. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be, like, you know, whatever. It's, like, a Nike swoosh or, like, a Guess, but it's, like, the same fucking, like, striped shirt.
Right.
But, yeah, and then, like, when Nas and then Wu-Tang came in, like, everyone started dressing the way I came in.
Yeah, I've been here like twice. Get some snacks if you need.
Yeah, get some snacks. Get some Red Bull, bro.
Did you get some Uncrustables? I'm kicking back on the caffeine, so.
I need that shirt, son.
I cut out pre-workout completely.
You're off pre-workout completely?
Yeah, I'm done. I had like a fucking heart attack the other day.
Oh, for real? Bro, I've been in the gym at times where like I have to turn the music down because it's like I feel like my heart is just like
my heart just like I was halfway through a rep, like through a set, and it just fucking just started just
bad, huh? You couldn't sleep all night. But I took a pre-workout and my tolerance got so bad for them that I would take like gang of scoops, right? So I was in the gym and bro, I had to turn like my music down. I sat down on the bench. I was like, man, I'm tripping. And then I went in the sauna trying to like sweat it out. Went home and it was like 1 a.m. I couldn't sleep, bro. I was like, all that came to my head was like, man, eat something cold. I ate a whole thing of ice cream, hoping that it would like calm my heart down. I don't know, it didn't make sense, bro. I didn't, mind you, I didn't sleep. Went back to the gym like at 5 a.m. and just ran in the sauna for like 2 hours. Just trying to like, I would run in the sauna, step out, run. Mind you, this is like 10 years ago.
Bro, I was like,
but like,
chilling, and then it just hit.
That's when it hits you like, bro, this is not, there's some stuff, this like, this is not legal. How much of your album did you write in your head on some pre-workout? You know what I'm saying? Like, you have the most creative ideas.
You should have like all of it.
Bro, you take pre-workout, you're in the gym, all of a sudden it's just like, damn, I need to write this down. While like,
you know, like some of the celebrities that I've shot, like there's like stories that I have just from our photo shoots that I can share with my friends, and they'll be like, oh, like I would have never known, or I would have never thought that, you know what I mean? But it's just cool to like have that one-on-one.
Yeah, it's the same with you though, because like when I'll shoot with him, and then, or we'll just have like a regular conversation, and then like somehow something will get brought up that like, oh yeah, like shot Kanye West, or like oh yeah, I went my shoot with John Legend back in the day. Like I was like, wait, time out, and then
he'll pass over it.
Yeah, he just like scans over it, and then
I'm just like, wait, let's go back. You shot who?
The one that tripped me out though, was when we did that Black Panther Party shoot. I was getting my hair ready or whatever. I was trying to like dry it, and I was putting in like, you know, head and shoulders, just trying to make it look like an afro or whatever. And then he was like, yeah, I did the I don't remember how I got brought up, but you told me that you did the Straight Outta Compton template and the poster itself.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, I stopped like halfway through, and I looked over at him. I was like, wait, time out. You're telling me you did the Straight Out of Compton template? Like, you know how?
Yeah, that's iconic. That's how I told him when you told me that, bro. I was like, I didn't want to talk about anything else at that time. But that's also because like, especially, I mean, that movie was like, you know, amazing, but regionally for us, like that was it. You know what I mean? But before we get there, man, like, how did you even go from like, yo, I don't have a camera, you want me to do this prerequisite, being at Palomar, and then getting connected with LRG as LRG was getting ready to become what LRG became?
So that happened. So I don't know if you remember, but there was like a hip hop shop on Mission called The Zone.
Yeah.
Okay, so I used to work there, like just at the register.
2000.
I was
2001.
it was early. I mean, no, it was before that because I was with LRG. I was with LRG. I want to say like mid '99.
Okay.
So before, because it was right after high school, I was working
Okay.
at that shop. But I was working at that shop. So then, like, if you're in like that clothing world, right? At the time, it's like everybody wants to go to trade shows. You know what I mean? So there was like the ASR trade show that happened in like San Diego, and then there was one in Long Beach.
At the convention center, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to that one.
Yeah, so it was Action Sports Retail. That's what it stood for, right? So like you would go and you would see like DC, like all the skate brands, like whatever it was, and then there was Magic. Magic's the big one that happens in Vegas, right? So Magic is like the main one. That's like at that time, you would see like the Fat Farm and Sean John, Polo, like all the big brands, right? So there was a point where like the owner of the shop that I worked for, he was going to these trade shows, and I was like, bro, like I want to go check out these shows, like you know what I mean, like I was basically just a kid, and I was just like, dude, I want free
Going
shit.
to Palomar still, like you're going to Palomar this
Yeah.
summer. Okay.
And so he let me go, like he got me a pass, and he was like, yeah, you can go to ASR, since it's here like in San Diego. So I went to ASR, and then LRG had the booth, right? And then that's when I met Jonas. Rest in peace to Jonas. That's one of my really good friends. He was like part owner of that company, right?
LRG.
Yeah. So I was walking by his booth, and I remember looking at the gear. So like, I would say at the time, like Echo was kind of like the hot shit, you know what I mean? And then it was kind of getting burnt. And then like LRG was like that new brand that was like, yo, like there's something about this brand, right? So I met Jonas because he handed me like a mixtape. It was like a LRG mixtape. That was like what they were big on.
You remember
Kinda
who was on
like
the mixtape?
Just,
It was just like
random artists, like like even backstory, like Jonas used to be a DJ, so they had this mixtape, and I remember talking to him, and I was like, dude, I really like your clothes, blah blah. And then like he would look at my badge, and he's like, what shop are you, where are you from, like, and they were still trying to get in, more stores and whatever it was. And then like we kind of just like became friends like in time, because he was like, yo, I'll send you like fits or whatever if you rep us out there. And I was like, yeah, I'm down, because they hadn't had like any attention like in San Diego at the time, because they're from like Orange County, right? They're like big in Orange County. So he would like send me boxes and boxes of gear, right? And that's all I wore. And then one time we had a conversation. He was like, bro, because I would go to the office and just like visit, say what's up.
So off of that relationship, you were like, okay, I'm just gonna invest more time into this relationship, or like you saw something in the brand and you just wanted to be connected to it more?
Yeah, it was literally like, it was just like you loved something so much that it was just like, it almost became like a natural thing, right? It's like if I got something from MadStrange, right, and it was like, oh, like, and that meeting that we had was like, like both of us had respect for each other. Like, I'm like, okay, like you guys rep the city hard, like you guys rep it like respectfully, and it's not super cheesy or whatever it is. Yeah. And then we just build that relationship, and then like from there we see where that relationship goes, right? And that's what happened with LRG. LRG at the time, like I kind of just came in like right at the right time, because they were trying to grow. I was in San Diego, and like they're like, you work at this shop, you go to these like, you know, hip hop events, and that's where the backpack stuff comes in. You know what I mean? Like if like Hyro was performing or Talib was performing, like I'd be like at every hip hop show, you know, just out there. But yeah, we built that relationship, and then at some point, a conversation came up, and he was like, bro, like we're always hanging out, we kick it, like I see you, we talk. He's like, but I've never asked you, like, what do you do? And I was like, well, what do you mean? He was just like, do you, like, what do you do outside of just like working at the store? And I was like, well, right now I'm taking photography. And that's where he was like, that's funny. He's like, we actually need a photographer. Like, would you be down to shoot? And I was like, yeah, I'm super down. And then that's kind of where it all kind of just like took off.
So who was, so he says, would you be down to shoot? And then you became the photographer just like that? Like you started taking pictures of like their clothes? Or
well,
like...
so kind of, it like, he did ask me like a couple questions, you know what I mean? Like he's like, yeah, like I want to check out your portfolio, you know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, for sure. And then he was like, do you know how to use like studio lighting? Like, you know, do you know how to use this, you know, this camera or whatever? Because like you had to know how to use like a medium format camera because the negative is bigger. You can make clear photos, and like that's the stuff that they use for print, right? For magazines. And I was like, yeah. I'm in my fucking first year, you know, photo.
You're like year one.
I barely know how like to work the one I just borrowed.
What made you say yes? Like
so I said yes because it was just like, one, I was in the moment, and then two, like I thought about it. I was like, if I say no, I don't know when I'm gonna get this opportunity again. You know what I mean? So I was like, I trusted myself enough to be like, okay, if I say yes, like I'll figure out how to do this shit because I love doing this. You know what I mean? I was like, I have a teacher that supports me. Like I can just go to him, ask him how to use this stuff. You know what I mean? And then like just basically figure out because when he asked me, he was like, yeah, like I didn't think, like I thought I had like maybe at least 2 months before I was going to shoot anything for them. Yeah. So I was like, I got some time to figure all this stuff out, you know? But yeah, a week later, like he just hit me up and he was like, yo, like we actually have a shoot scheduled, blah, blah, like, are you open? I was like, yeah, I'll come out. And then next thing you know, like, yeah, it was my first shoot was with Kanye.
That's
yeah.
So this is Kanye before College Dropout, or is
this is Kanye going into College Dropout? Like,
any singles out yet or no?
Through the Wire was out.
It was 2003.
2003.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy because even when I was taking photos of him, he asked me, he was like, yo, he's like, do you mind like just trying to shoot this side of my face? Because like the other side is swollen, right? And then I kind of made a joke. I kind of laughed and I was like, wait, you get in a fight or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't know, like all these fuckers like that were with me at this fight, like they didn't tell me anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like,
did you like have? I mean, obviously that single is big, but did you know who he was? Like,
I knew him as a producer.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because if you watch the documentary, like that's like that whole documentary is real. I know the dudes who shot that, like Kudi and Chike. But everything that they say, like it's like super real. Like when they said that no one took him seriously as a rapper because he was like this producer, like we all just thought he just produced music because you do H to the Izzo, like you're like, oh, like that's the guy who did H to the Izzo. You know what I mean? Like that's the dude, you know. But yeah, like when I think he was there, like he would like freestyle. He was doing stuff where it was like he was definitely trying to show everyone that like he could rap and that he wanted to rap, which was like when watching that documentary, I was like, dude, like this is the Kanye that I know. Like I remember there was a post that I made on Instagram, and it's a while back, and I want to say it was when everybody was like super heated when he was like rocking like a MAGA hat or like, you know, whatever it was, Kanye for president or some shit. Anyway, so I shared this photo because like everyone was sharing their thoughts, right? And then I posted the photo, and then I wrote this whole thing, and I was like, well, I don't know the Kanye that everyone knows now, right? I was like, but I do know this Kanye, and let me tell you about him. And I listed this whole thing about like, you know, our experience and like the photo shoot and like who he was and like how nobody took him serious, you know, this whole thing, basically like what the doc talked about, you know what I mean? And then a lot of us at the time, like if you were around Kanye, like it would be the same story that you would tell. Like if I were to do a doc, like that would be the same story I'd tell, you know. But
how much time did you spend with him? How long was that photo shoot?
So with him, I want to say it was about like 2 hours, like a 2-hour shoot. And then, so I shot him. And then when I shot him, I shot photos of like pro skaters, which is crazy because like even then it's like, okay, I shot Kanye, but then I also took photos of like Chico Brenes and then Carl Watson.
All on the same day?
Yeah, all in the same day. Like that LRG shoot period was like, it was probably like a 6-hour shoot.
Your first shoot?
Yeah.
Didn't you tell me he let you wear he had the chain, he had the Rockaware?
Yeah.
The Rockefeller chain. Yeah.
Rockefeller chain. Yeah, that's what was dope. It was like he let us like, cause we was like, yo, that chain's like dope, you know? And he's like, yeah, it's fresh. And then Jonas was like, can I see that thing? Cause like he loved jewelry. You know what I mean? So he put it on, and then he was like, "Oh, take a photo of me." And I was like, "All right." I took a picture of him, and then he was like, "Here, try this." And then like we put it on, like we all took pictures with the shit, like, you know.
That's crazy,
like,
bro.
That's insane.
Yeah, and that thing was long, like that shit went like.
Because that was like the 2000s.
Like,
everybody had the long chains.
Yeah, but just to be able to like see it in front of you, like
that's I
it's
can't even
crazy.
fathom. Especially like just not knowing the run he was about to go on with like college dropout and late registration and just I don't know. I'm always a Kanye fan, but early Kanye, like late registration is one of my favorite albums ever.
Yeah, it's just you know, like sure. I said, it's crazy to know like little stories of certain things, right? We had this idea where like we brought like the MPC like 2000 XL or something, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, we're gonna have him. Like the whole idea was basically like him like sitting on a branch because it was like LRG. LRG is all about like trees and giraffes and shit. So the idea was like, okay, we'll have him sit on this thing, and then we'll have him like with the MPC, because he's a producer, right?
Thinking about that now, that probably pissed him off.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like he's like, I'm not a producer.
Yeah, it's so crazy. And
not only that, like watching that documentary, how insecure he was about like his jaw too.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. And for you to say that, like,
yeah, back to that, I didn't know he got in an accident.
Yeah.
Right. So then I'm already the asshole that like was trying to make a joke and then didn't realize he almost died. You know what I mean? And then when I found that out, I was like, oh fuck, like I need to like figure out how to like make him like more comfortable with me again, kind of deal. And then I give him the MPC, and he's like, dude, I don't even run an MPC. And then like I was like, oh, all right. And then he was like, I usually use like I'm an 808 guy, and he was like, how about we do it? He was like, how about we do it where like I'm pushing it away? And I was like, all right, yeah, let's shoot it. So then we shot that, and then that's actually the ad that like one of the ads that we used. Also, too, fun fact: if you watch or if you've seen the documentary, there's a part in the documentary where he's in the hotel and he's recording, like he's just in the studio, and he has this shirt on. It says fluorescence on it. It's like it's colorful, right? Right before, like, so that shot, like that day in the hotel, we were with him like a couple hours prior to that, like that shot of that scene, because at the that was the reason why we only had like so much time with him, because he was like, hey, I gotta go back and I gotta record some music, and we're like, okay. And so I remember that was like, I think the last fit that I shot him in, and he was still wearing it when he walked out.
So how was that like when you saw it in the documentary?
Oh, I was hyped. I was like, when I was watching the documentary, I was like, I hope my photos are in here. You know what I mean? Like, and then, but it wasn't. But then seeing it, I was like, oh my gosh, like I was literally just with him, like, you know what I mean? Like that day, I was like, it's just, for me, it was like the moment, right? It's like, but yeah, it's super dope. I mean, just in general to be able to work with him, and then also, dude, like no matter what people will say about Kanye or whatever it is, it's like I can't tell you how many jobs I've gotten just by having him in my portfolio.
Yeah.
Period. You know what I mean? Like people are like, "What, you shot Kanye?" You're like, "What, you shot Kanye?" You know what I mean? Like,
and including Phife.
Yeah.
Phife Dawg. Who else was it? Who else have you shot?
So I worked with Kanye, Phife from Tribe Called Quest, Western Peace, CeeLo Green, John.
Oh, you did CeeLo?
Yeah, CeeLo, John Legend, Jim Jones from Dipset.
I didn't even know that one.
Because you were in New York. You went back to New York, right? You ended up going back. You moved back to New York for a little bit?
There was times where I went to New York to shoot photos for LRG. But when I went to New York, that was after I left LRG, and I stayed with like a creative director, and I was trying to figure out how can I be that person. But yeah, like I went to New York for a weekend to shoot De La Soul. And I remember even like going to shoot them. I went out for the weekend, and they come. We have the box of gear, and the shit doesn't fit any of them. And we're like, I'm sitting there like, I'm there by myself with like the creative director from like Raucous. Like I stayed with him, and then I was sitting there, and I was like, dude, I don't even know what to do. Like the smallest dude, you know what I mean? Pause. Like he fit the biggest stuff that we sent, and we're like, okay, like we can only shoot out. And I'm here calling Jonas, and I'm like, yo, like bro, like none of these clothes fit. Like I don't know what you want me to do. And it's not like they can like ship anything because it's the weekend. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like a store and just no, like nothing. Like and it was like a fucking snowstorm because it was like February. Like it just sucked. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah. So then I was like, you know what? Like, so they made these pants that had like it was like a landscape like stitching on the pocket or whatever. It was like a big thing. I was like, anyway, I was like, we'll just have them all wear white shirts. And I was like, hey, let's get a couple photos of you guys just like holding the pants up and kind of like covering your faces or whatever. Yeah. And then we did a couple shots of that, and then they actually used that for the magazine, and then they were in town. I want to say maybe like a couple months later, and then they came back, and then I got to shoot like, you know, whatever outfits because they actually came to the office. So, but yeah, the last one I did was Drake. Like that was my.
You shot Drake?
Yeah.
Well, how long ago was that?
That was
something like random. This dude's always with the
I didn't even know Drake was in the car. What?
But what was that for? What was that?
That was for LRG, and that.
Oh, this is like early Drake then. Or this is
that was like what's that song? You're the fucking best. Yeah. So that was the last.
Did you think he would end up being who he became when you obviously?
Not at all. But what's crazy is that like I don't know what's in the water at like LRG. Like those guys are really good at like finding talent. Like right in the beginning, and then them like blowing up. You know what I mean? Like
what was he like at that time?
Or just a regular dude. Yeah. Like honestly, like it was nothing that got me with like, oh, he's like super cool.
Especially by that time, you had shot so many people that you were just kind of like.
Yeah, that one was kind of more just like, okay, like it's another shoot. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're doing this. Like, like I didn't get to like hang out with him as much. I did a shoot in North Carolina, with Little Brother. So that's like Ninth Wonder. And Ninth Wonder actually picked me up from the airport, and I rolled with him, like, to the barbershop where the other dudes were, like, getting their hair cut. And I was chilling with Ninth, like, the whole time. And then Ninth, actually, he made, like, the Blackout, like, Jay-Z's Black Album just came out. And then we were talking about the beat that he made for Jay-Z, like, how that happened. Like, and now...
which song is that? Is that
It's
that's not public service announcement, is it?
no, it's if I saw a list, I would know. I forget. It was one of the hottest ones.
It was a single.
Yeah.
Dirt Off Your Shoulders. No, that was a.
No.
That's a 10 beat.
I forget. Like, fuck. You heard it, you'd be like, oh, like I know. It'd be one of the tracks like you would definitely play, like for sure.
Yeah,
but
that album was
right. Threat. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we asked him like how that went, like, and this is the shit that I like, you know what I mean? It's like I get to ask these dudes like, yo, like how did this happen? And he was like, yo, like we went to the studio, like, and I sat there with Jay-Z, and he was like, yeah, bring some beats. So he said that he was playing a bunch of beats for him, and like the way Jay worked was like he sits on the couch and he plays like fucking NBA, 2K or whatever it is. Yeah. And like he was just like, all right, next. He was like, let me check out the next one. And like literally doesn't look at him. Like you could be ninth, you could be like the screen, and he's just playing this video game. And then like he said that like every beat that he played him, he just like nothing happened. And then Jay was like, why don't you just make something new like right now? And then he was like, all right. So then he went into the studio, made that, and then came out, and then Jay just started like moving his head, and like it was a wrap. They recorded it that night.
That's insane. Sometimes that's all it takes, though. I mean, I hear a beat for like 10 seconds or like 3 seconds, honestly.
Yeah.
And I know if I'm gonna, like it or not. But yeah, that's crazy to hear that thought process of Jay too, because Jay is actually somebody I listen to before I write. There's not too many rappers that I can listen to that like I actually listen to and like listen to how they do things.
Yeah.
Especially because I know that Jay wrote Still DRE. Like the fact that I know that too, and the fact that you're able to like jump from, from the blueprint to writing Snoop and Dre's parts of Still DRE and being able to like change your mindset on that, it's like crazy. And hearing the background behind that, because they said that like, they said that he wrote a whole song to it, and they were like, nah, it's too like, it's different than what we're gonna rap about. It's some West Coast shit, you know what I mean? And he actually rewrote the version that's out now, and I'm just like Jay. So hearing that about like Jay is cool to know that like he doesn't have to sit there and listen to it. Like you just go through a whole bunch of like it's the same thing, honestly. But yeah,
he's definitely like a talent, and that whole business minded, like that guy's insane. Like,
Jay's
the way his mind works.
So you left LRG, like since then, like who's everyone that you shot while you were there? Because I cut you off, man. You said Jim Jones, and then you ended with Drake.
Yeah, Madlib, Just Blaze. Let me think. DJ Revolution, Mr. Chalk, Sway. Yeah, and then skaters, so it would be like Jack Curtin, Rob G, Chico, Carl. Who else was skating back then? Tone from Shorties. Remember him? Do you remember Shorties?
From Shorties, yeah, I know Shorties. Yeah,
the Asian dude.
Yeah,
I shot photos of Tone.
I'm trying to think of who was on LRG, honestly.
Yeah.
Who are you the most hyped to shoot? Because some of these guys you shot, like you say you shot Drake.
Oh, okay.
Like when he first dropped his first single, then obviously like Kanye West was early.
Yeah.
But who were
the
you?
The one I was most hyped on was Ray, like Raekwon from Wu, because I'm like the biggest Wu-Tang fan. And like,
so they tell you like, hey, or you show up, or like, how did that whole thing play out?
So we shot that. We did the shoot at someone's house, like at their parents' house. They had like this big ass like Spanish like looking villa kind of house.
This on the West Coast, or
yeah, this was like in Orange County. But I remember him coming, and then like he was like a kid. Like he was just like, yo, like we here at this like Cheesecake Factory house. Like what the fuck? Like this shit's crazy.
He said Cheesecake
Factory. But I remember like him coming in, and I was just like, dude, like I'm here. You know what I mean? Like I used to listen to your music, you know, even with like De La and like Phife, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's crazy to be like fans of their music, and then all of a sudden like a couple years later, like you start to work with them, and that's when you start to realize like the industry really isn't that big once you get in it. You know what I'm saying? Like once you find your foot in there, like it's really super small and everybody knows everyone, which is why like I always try to like, you know, keep my name good, you know what I'm saying? Because like once you fuck up, it's like, yeah, it's a wrap.
What do you mean keep your name good? Like what is that?
Just like my work ethic, you know what I mean? The way I talk to people, whether it's like at a photo shoot or like at an event, you know what I'm saying? Just being like respectful and just being cool. Like one of the best advice like a friend gave me was like, it was like the best thing you could ever do is just be cool. Like don't be like the guy who's like asking for shit. Like, can I work for you? Like I would love to shoot photos of you one day. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to hear that shit. You know what I mean? They want to feel human. Like that's what I realized with like when you work with like celebrities and stuff, like, you know, A-list clients or whatever it is. It's like once you humanize them, it's like they become your homies, and then like, you know what I mean? Like you get to like really just work with them, like, or whatever, you get to shoot the shit with them like whenever you want.
Now you good. We got people in the studio too, but
let me check out that studio.
Can you go in there?
Yeah,
it's locked? No, I think they're in there recording. Oh, you mean like the...
I've been telling this dude to come through for a minute or the site. Oh yeah, he's up there on our C-stand. You know, grip. FX6 dog. We gotta make a movie. Yeah.
So we're here because Marcel, he's pretty much, I mean, really, this is all.
Oh, this is you met my How are you?
Yeah.
We go to church together, dog.
I know, dog. Yeah. Bishop's coming too.
I know.
Yeah. So there's a music studio in here.
Dang, they got it all.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, but they're in there. They're recording in there right now. So how in the hell did you get connected with like John Singleton for the NWA movie?
It wasn't so. All right. So there's a couple of things I can talk about and I can't, just cause like an NDA stuff. But so it was like this invite thing. So like if you, basically they put out the word and said, hey, like we're gonna do an NWA movie, right? So like creatives. Like usually it's like creative directors, right? And they're like, we're looking for artists. We need promos, right? So then if you're like, oh shit, like let me hit up L, he can design some shit, and then have him connected like with the agency that did Straight Outta Compton, right? So basically there was like, I think there had to be like 5 or 6 artists that got like chosen, right, to make stuff. So when they gave us all the assets. They were like, here, like these are like the logos that you use, or like this is the typeset that you use. These are the photos you use if you're gonna use them. You know what I mean? Like this whole asset folder is like specifically of like what we can use, and you know what I mean, like how, like the rules or like lane of like, okay, this is how much you can design like on top of it or whatever it is. So to us, we thought we were making stuff for social media, right? We were like, okay, like
because they didn't tell you what it was for. They just
right.
said create.
And then like the thing was too, like we watch NWA now, or like we think of it, right? Or Straight Outta Compton, and we're like, yo, that's a dope ass movie, right? But when we got the news, it was like you didn't know what it was gonna look like, right? You didn't know how the story was gonna be told, because like I wasn't a fan of like Biggie's movie. Like when they do like certain rapper movies, I'm just like,
yeah, sometimes it's like
it doesn't hit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know how this NWA thing's gonna go, you know what I mean? And then also too, at the time, you're kind of like I haven't even listened to NWA like for a long time, like, you know what I'm saying? But so anyway, I submitted like 3 designs basically. So the one design is the one that you see now, right? That's all over the place. The second design was basically the same thing, but with like an old English font, like the Compton, you know what I mean? Like that was on the hat. So it was like I was getting like inspirations from like what LA like people were wearing. And then the other one was basically that one with the old English, but it had like the LA riots like blended in with the dudes walking. Like those are the 3 that I submitted, right? So then, you know, like I get a contact and they're like, hey, like we picked one of your designs, blah, blah, blah. We want to use it. And I was like, okay, dope. And then I hit up like my friend and I was like, yo, like my shit got approved. So then I get a check, right? And then I'm talking, I was telling like friends like yo, like I'm doing like promos for Straight Outta Compton like a year before the movie came out. So then when the cover came, like they started promoting it, I was like, holy shit, like they used my fucking design for the cover. Like that was like a big trip. Like when
how'd you get
happened,
that call, or how did you see it? Like you saw like everybody else saw it?
Yeah. Like I literally like no one called me and was like, hey, your design's a movie cover. Like they already paid me, you know what I mean?
So
like
who do you call? Like how do you process that moment?
Dude, like honestly, like when that happens, it's like I literally call like my closest friends like first, right? I'm like, yo, Cesar, or like Jose, like, yo, like that's my cover, like I did this, you know what I mean? And also too, like there was a couple of people that I showed the design to
Before you submitted it?
Before I submitted it.
Yeah.
And
so they knew too.
Yeah, and they were like, oh, this is cool. You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah. And then when the fucking posters came out and like all the promos, like, dude, like seeing it, like, okay, like I went to the premiere and like seeing it like whatever, 20 feet tall on the side of a fucking parking garage, like is insane. Like I'm sitting there like, oh my God, like, you know, like one of those like I made it like kind of moments. Like even though there was like, you know, whatever, like celebrities on this side, like, you know, getting into the premiere or whatever it was just like I couldn't stop looking at like yo, I made that shit. And it's funny because now if you follow me on Instagram, sometimes like I'll post like if somebody's rocking like, oh, Straight Outta Yoga or Straight Outta Oceanside or some shit,
right,
like I'll take a photo of it and I'll put it on my story and I'll be like, where's my check?
Facts.
But yeah, it was crazy, man. And I wish I had a different contract in a sense.
Right.
I mean, I'm definitely thankful and grateful that I was able to do that. You know what I'm saying? But also just to see like when they like made an app and it was like, oh, you can make like Straight Outta you know, wherever, and then like I was like, fuck, you know how much I like could have gotten like from that.
But maybe you wouldn't have got that job.
Right. So like
you almost didn't have like leveraging. You didn't have any leverage in that specific deal.
Yeah.
But still, though, I hear you.
It's just
It's the concept of it though, like just
Yeah.
even like still seeing it, That movie was amazing.
And it was dope. Like that movie was so good, and to me it was like, it's like, bro, like if I could do any movie, you know what I mean, that was like represented hip hop, like I'm glad it's this one. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like even though like I guess it would have been cool to do the other ones, but like I wouldn't be as hyped.
No, that movie's iconic now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But thinking about like, bro, you did College Dropout, Kanye. I didn't even know you did Drake, but you did Drake when he was starting off. You done Raekwon to do the NWA movie, Straight Outta Compton. Like when we first met, bro, at Terry's, and you started telling me, like I felt proud that it was like, yo, we got a dude from Oceanside did the Straight Outta Compton. Like that's like one of those like his like things that like trivia about the city. You know what I'm saying? Like a dude from Oceanside, great. Not just a dude, man, but like you're mad humble. So like that's why I'm so happy that you came on today to like to share this, man, because I feel like more people need to know this. That's the first thing I told you, right? When we met, I was like, bro, like that brings like pride to me.
Yeah, and I think and the reason why I think like you know, like you said earlier, it's like, or you know, you said it was like I kind of just blow over it, right? Yeah. And the only reason why is it really like it's like I'm very proud of my work, right? Like don't get it wrong. It's just that like I'm really like it's like when you're mentoring kids, it's like when I started visiting like El Camino, right? Like I got invited to go back to El Camino and like go talk to the photo kids or whatever it was, right? And basically like talk to these kids and be like, yo, this is who I shot, right? This is all the work that I've done. Like you guys know all of this. And if you don't, I mean like you know who Drake is. You know what I mean? You know this movie cover. And I was like, yo, like, I'm from this city. I sat in that chair. I was like, dude, like, don't ever think that, like, your dreams are far-fetched, because they're not. To sit there and be like, oh, I'm from Oceanside, like, I can only go as far, right? Dude, you could be from anywhere. It's just a matter of, like, where your work ethic is, like, or, like, what you're willing to do to, like, get there. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I'll tell you all day, like, it didn't happen with me living in Oceanside my entire life. You know what I mean? Like, throughout my time of, like doing photo, doing design, or being a creative director, it's like I lived back and forth from here to Brooklyn. I was in Atlanta. I was, like, in L.A. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to make moves. And I had to be in areas where, like, people were, to meet these people, to be able to do, like, the things that I wanted to do. Because there was goals that I, you know, like, little goals that I wanted to do when I started photo, right? It was, like, first goal is always, like, oh, I just want somebody to pay me, right? Like, I don't care what it is, $50, $100, whatever it is. I just want somebody to pay me to shoot their photo, right? Then the next goal is, like, man, I want somebody from San Diego to hire me. You know what I mean? Because I'm in Oceanside. So it's like, boom, I do something in San Diego. Then it's like LA. Then it's like, man, I want to try and do something like in another state, right? Because, like, that's always like a dream, to fly out somewhere. Like, you know what I mean? Like, imagine, like, somebody hit you up and was like, yo, like, we want you to come out to Paris and do a show. Yeah. And we got all your stuff taken care of. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, now I get to travel. I get to tell my friends, like, yo, like, I'm going to be gone, like, doing this. And it's crazy because, like, there's times where, like, I definitely liked just being gone for the weekend, because to me, it just sounded cool. Like, oh, what you doing this weekend? Actually, I'm flying out to New York. I got to go shoot a photo, and, like, you know what I mean? I'll be back on Monday. You know what I mean? Like, people don't do that. Like, when you go on a trip, like, you're gone for, like, at least, like, a week. You're on vacation. But, yeah, man, it's just, like, those goals, and then it's, like, figuring out how to do that, right? It's, like, again, it's, like, okay, like, how do I work in another state? How do I go to another country? Like, I was able to do these things. You know what I'm saying? But there was a lot of, like, telling you, man, fucking microwave burritos that I had to eat. You know what I mean? Because I couldn't afford things. You know what I mean? There was definitely times where like, you know, I was like either short on rent or like rent was coming, and I was like, dude, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, but like, oh, like, hey, so and so wants you in LA, and I was like, I'm fucking there. You know what I mean? And then I get there, I meet somebody, and then they hire me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so at the end of the day, it's really about like your movement. Like, you gotta keep moving. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just stay here. Like, you can be from here. You know what I'm saying? You can be from here. You can like be proud to be from Oceanside. And like, no one's gonna fucking tell you like, oh, you sold out because you moved to LA or you moved to fucking New York or whatever it is, right? Yeah. It's like, at the end of the day, like your real friends are always gonna support you, right? The city is always gonna love you no matter what, right? Period. And then the ones that hate on you they're just hating it because they're not the ones doing it, yeah. Right? And that's like a thing that I learned where it was just like on how to just like, you know what, like, don't mind what like these people are saying, and then just like listen to the ones that are like yo, like I'm doing this thing, and it's like, and then asking the right questions, right? It's like, so how were you able to do this? And they're like, oh, I got an agent, blah, blah, blah. Oh, like what agent? You know what I mean? Like, how do you get an agent? Or, you know, and then you get that knowledge and then you run with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just take knowledge and just keep it to yourself and like do nothing with it, right? Yeah. It's like, what was the point of it? And then what's the point of keeping knowledge and not being able to share it? And that was like my whole thing. It was like I want to be able to tell like someone like that I believe in, like my students, you know what I'm saying? Like, or people that I believe have a talent, you know what I mean? Someone like my daughter, you know, someone like Hoda. It's like I can give you a path because I went down it already. Yeah. You know what I mean? At this point, like, it's just really up to you to really like, yeah, just go down it. And you know, you don't have to go around like, you know, from like A to E back to B to C. Like, no, like, here you go. Here's A, B, C, D, E, F. You know what I mean? I have it all for you. Just follow it.
And for them, that's really big too, for your daughter and for Hoda, because they're, you know, going, you know, a similar path. They're trying to do the photography thing, and they're doing it. They're killing it. You know what I mean? So, I feel like that's really big. You know what I mean? Especially for them.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's I think that's dope. I think it's dope, especially for them, because they you know, they need that guidance too. And it's like you're somebody that's done it, you've been there and you've done that, and you're still doing it. So it's like, yeah, what better way to continue to do that than guide, you know?
Right.
You know, the people that are looking up to you.
And to me, that's the most important thing to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like, I love the work that I do. You know what I mean? But more than anything, I love helping someone, like, you know, like, help guide them, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, or teach them something, or like, you know, hey, like, you want to know like what a real set looks like, yeah, let me invite you and you can be my assistant or whatever it is. Like, you can see how it is. And that stuff too, like people need to understand, like even with this like creative media, right? It's like, you know, there's it's like if you want to work for a big company, it's like, okay, like, you got to do like a free internship, and it's like, fuck, like, no one wants to do an internship for a year and then maybe or maybe not get a job, yeah, right? In the creative world or like photo world, it's like, okay, like, you're going to assist or be my assistant, you may or may not get paid, but like, it'll work out in the end. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's where, like, I tell people, like, yo, like, if you get a chance to assist somebody, or like somebody's willing to like take you on, like, take that advantage. You know what I'm saying? Like, take that opportunity. Yeah. Because like, there's no time to just like sit at home and like, think to yourself like, oh, like when is this gonna happen? Like shit don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? And then especially like with opportunities, it's like, especially like with me, right? I took the first opportunity that somebody gave me, and then like look where that fucking path went. And it's funny because like this new generation, it's like it's almost like they got options, right? And it's almost like, hey, I'm feeling photography today, I'm super good at it, and then like all of a sudden, nah, I'm not really into it, I'm gonna do music. It's like, what the fuck? Like, you didn't even try. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just switching it up because, like, what? Like, you didn't get somewhere at a certain time. You know what I mean? Like, how many times have you heard, like, a story from, like, a football player that, like, didn't make it or made it to the pros when they were, like, at their late 30s and maybe played maybe a year or 6 months or whatever it was. But he became a pro. And most likely, he either works still in that industry, or he's like a motivational speaker, or someone's doing a movie on him.
But him pursuing his dreams, he can transfer that over and empower somebody else because he went through that process of not giving up.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's huge, and I think that's something that I'm taking from this conversation, man, and hearing you, because we didn't even touch the surface on, like, I know you shared your Canelo story with me. I love it. Because I'm a big boxing fan, man. And so like for me, like when I heard that, I was like, oh shit, like you did Canelo, you know what I mean? Yeah. But no, I think we can take what you've said, man, and understanding where you came from. And a lot of it was just you saying yes to opportunities and okay, I'm gonna figure it out later. But pursuing something.
Also too, there's also like a line, you know what I'm saying? Like when you do say, cause sometimes like I'll tell this story, right? And sometimes people like their first reactions like, oh yeah, fake it till you make it. I'm like, no. Like I'm not about the whole fake it till you make it. Like, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Like, my point is, again, knowing like what your like God-given talent is, you know what I'm saying? And then knowing like your ability, right? So it's like, if they were to say like, hey man, like we want to do this thing, we want to do like a music video, blah blah blah, I would have to say no, because I don't know how to do that. I know how to take some photos, you know what I'm saying? So I can say yes to that, and then if it has to do with like figuring out lighting and another camera, sure, I'll figure that out. But like a video camera and then trying to tell a story and then like I don't know how to do any of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like knowing like the boundary of like okay, like don't take opportunities that are like gonna like dig you in a hole. You know what I'm saying? Because like you don't want to fuck up on a job either. You know what I'm saying? And then you have to come back and then like no, I'm good now. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, no, we're working with somebody else, you know what I'm saying, that we're used to, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's definitely, I'm definitely big on like, yeah, man, if you believe in yourself enough, you know what I'm saying, and you think that you could definitely do this, you know what, go for it. Take that risk, you know what I mean? Because like, a lot of the times, dude, like, it sucks to like have that unanswered question. To sit there and be like, oh man, what if I did this? You know what I mean? Like, oh, like, I don't want to sit here today and been like, oh, LRG hit me up and they were like, you're going to do a photo shoot with Kanye. And then I was like, oh no, I can't. And then I didn't build that relationship and then sit here and be like, man, what if I shot that? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like all the other shit wouldn't have came straight out of Compton. Like I definitely believe all the stuff that I've done, like all that shit wouldn't have come if I didn't take that opportunity.
Yeah. And I think that's what this podcast was about, man. Like from the very beginning, and even the MadStrange brand, it's being different. You know what I mean? Being different and willing to take those risks. And man, we're thankful for your time, bro. We're thankful that you came and spent tonight with us, because it's probably like,
dude, what time is
midnight. We're already into Monday morning. So man, Bishop came straight from work, man. So it's definitely been a long night. I've drank 2 Red Bulls and a coffee.
Yeah, I wish I was still doing the caffeine thing like that. I had to take a break, but
no, man, it's love, man. We appreciate you, bro.
No,
Yeah.
Thank you,
I
man.
appreciate
Thank
you guys
you.
having me,
Thank
man.
you. It means a lot. It means a lot, and especially with like right now, especially the one thing that goes through my head is consistency and how to be consistent with what I'm doing. So I mean, that speaks volumes, the things that you've done and the things that you've been through, and how to apply that to my own road that I'm taking. And one of the biggest things is I'm trying to figure out how to make it a marathon instead of a sprint. I feel like there's so many things going on at one time, and I'm trying to like expand, like I'm trying to make it so that way that's always happening.
Yeah, and
so I mean, it's a balance.
I definitely appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? And like literally, like if you do follow me or you know what I mean, like you know who I am or whatever it is, like, dude, I push a shutter button every day of my life. You know what I mean? Like I'm good only because like I do this shit every day. You know what I mean? Like I don't do it just on fucking Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. You know what I'm saying? I do it every day of my life. You're fucking fit as shit because you're always working out. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's like, again, yeah, you're right. It's consistency. You know what I'm saying? And then there's going to be times where it sucks, right? I'm pretty sure like there's times where like you don't want to go to the gym or like you don't want to go all the way to LA to perform. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know what? Fuck it. Like I'm just going to do it and force myself because it's going to help me.
Yeah, I get like that with photo shoots sometimes. Like, if I get like I was just blessed with the opportunity to go to LA to do a pro club shoot with Yellow Hill, my homie Yellow Hill, and I remember just like looking at my girl and being like, we were debating it like, dang, like, you know, like should we go, should we do it, like what's the risk, what's the reward, and I was just like, I was thinking to myself like, I don't know how many motherfuckers from Oceanside finna do a pro club shoot, but I'm gonna make sure that I'm one of them. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm gonna just go do it, and it was cool because the people that I was able to meet a lot of people that I actually like, that I've listened to, like TF, you know what I'm saying, or Triz, and I was just like, damn, like, you know what I'm saying? I got there and I was like, shit, this is crazy. And
if you wouldn't have gone,
it was had I not have gone, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Right. It's just a trip, man. But I mean, it's a blessing, and you know, I have a lot of people out there that look out for me and make sure that I have those opportunities. So it was cool, you know.
No, and that's like, dope. Like you know, you do say that like, oh, like, you know, I'm an inspiration, and you know what I mean. Like the things that I do are like what I'm showing.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, I look at you guys, like I'm like, bro, like your movement is fucking crazy. Like I haven't seen someone's face like in like so much shit. And like so long, you know what I mean? And knowing that like, yo, like that dude's from Oceanside, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Jimmy, same way, dude. The way your resilience is helping people, like these kids, like it's insane to me. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit where it's like whatever you do in your life, and that shit, like it's like you have a purpose, and then you're helping other people. Like that's the best shit like ever. Because at the end of the day, like we all want to make money to a certain point where we can help everybody else, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like even on my end, where it's like if I can get a A-list client, you know what I'm saying? Like I did a job for like the NHL one time, right? They cut me a $20,000 check, right? Because of like what they wanted, but I was able to take that like money that they gave me, dude, hire my friend from like Atlanta and have him direct, hire a couple assistants. You know what I'm saying? Like I was able to like create a team and be able to pay them what they're worth. Not hit them up and be like, yo, can you do it for like a couple $100? You know what I mean? Knowing that like their jobs are like, or their rates are like, you know, 3,000, 5,000, like whatever it is. And being able to afford it and being like, yo, your fucking flight is covered. Your hotel is covered. And again, like hitting up my friend from Oceanside who also does stuff because like he actually started with Drumline movie. You know what I'm saying? Like the one I was telling you I was going to LA with. So like even to be able to hit him up now that he lives in St. Louis and we still connect, but I'm like, yo, like we can see each other, you know what I'm saying? And be able to work with each other because like I can afford to bring you out. or vice versa. Like he hits me up, yo, I'm in LA. I need another camera guy. You want to come out? I'm like, hell yeah, I'll come out, regardless if you pay me or not. Like I'm glad we're doing this together. Yeah. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people out here like that are really doing it. Like again, like my friend is from Oceanside. He graduated from El Camino, but he lives in St. Louis now. But he's also like a big director.
Speaking of that, man, like right before we let you go, who are some like upcoming creatives, photographers that you've seen like from the city or that you're working with right now?
Oh fuck! I mean, that I'm working with.
Yeah, or that you've seen like doing their thing. Because I know even today we got Life of Juancho here. We got Juancho. We got To the Brain in the building. Andres.
I mean, dude, like
Rudo's up in here too.
Yep.
Like outside of like my circle of like, you know, my quote unquote like students, you know what I'm saying, or my daughter, dude, like the work that Marcelo's doing, like, dude, I fucking love his work. You know what I'm saying? And
Marcelo's To the Brain, by the way.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people just
dude, his work to me, it's like just the way he tells the story of this city. It's like it's fucking dope because it's real. You know what I'm saying? And it's real, and it's not gangster. You know what I'm saying? It's not hood. It's just the way it is. It's our culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like, even just talking to him and being like, yo, like, I could totally seeing you doing like a fucking like a short film or like a docu-series. You know what I'm saying? I was like, let's get you there. You know what I'm saying? Because like just seeing the way that he creates, like it's like super dope to me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Same with, you know, Juancho, like, you know, his videos, same thing. The only thing I wish, okay, this is one thing I have an issue with, and I want you to hear this. I do understand that like Instagram format is a fucking thing, okay? Yeah. But like at the end of the day, I hope you're shooting fucking wide, because like we're not gonna go to a movie theater and the fucking screen is a vertical fucking screen. Okay. All right, dope. Like, yeah, because you know what I'm saying? Like, I do see some people, not you, I do see some people out there that just shoot vertical videos, and they're like, oh, it's great for Instagram because of the format. I get it. I understand it, right? This is the industry I work in. But at the end of the day, it's like, do you just want to create content, or do you want to make a fucking movie? You know what I'm saying? Or do you want to see something on the big screen? You know what I'm saying? Or like, it also limits you, right? Because like your format's so fucking narrow. It's like, okay, like, oh yeah, I get it. It's Bishop. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like, I don't get to see the world that's like around you. You know what I'm saying? I don't get to feel that other shit. And it does suck that like social media kind of, you know, controls that in a sense. And then we think on our end that like, oh, like we know how to work around it and, you know, this and that. But there's a lot of times where like, I think sometimes like people's skill levels will like just will like it won't advance because of the limits that like you're trying to stand by. That's like saying like, okay, like you can't sing on a track, you can only rap. And it's like, dude, like I could do so much more. I was like, no, just do rap. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't know.
No, that goes to life too, bro. What you just said is a lot deeper than just like shooting a camera. You know what I mean? That's like, that gets applied to life as well.
Yeah, it applies to everything. Yeah.
Man, I don't want to keep you too much longer, bro. I know that.
It's all good, man.
But no, man, we appreciate you, man. Nah, but we appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much, man.
No, thank you, man.
Thank you, man.
Again, we're all family here. Anyways.
Yeah, man. It's love, man. It's love. Yeah, for sure.
But I'm glad we got to share it, so we're good.
Yeah, man. Thank y'all.